enabled.
Hello and welcome to Facebook's Zero Friction Future, a CXO series in association with Storyboard. I'm Shibani Gharat and today we are discussing e-commerce. To discuss this with us, we have Srivatsa, VP Marketing Swiggy. We also have Vikas Gupta, CMO Flipkart. We have Harish Narayanan, CMO Myntra Jabong, and we have Nitin Chopra, who's Industry Head, E-commerce and Retail at Facebook India. All of you, welcome to the show. Nitin, let's begin with you. Tell us about the zero friction future from e-commerce lens.
Sure. So intuitively, if one would think that e-commerce journeys would probably be the most frictionless, considering the business models are routed in convenience. How in reality, e-commerce journeys are fraught with friction, right from the way you're discovering products to probably checking out products or app experiences or merchandise delivery or even payment options. There are multiple friction points across the consumer's path to purchase journey. Facebook's Zero Friction Future program helps in understanding these friction points across this path to purchase and actually provides solutions to these advertisers to unlock business growth. So that's, in essence, what Zero Friction Future by Facebook really means.
Okay, so let's just get on to individual case studies. Vikas, tell us, in Flipkart's quest for, let's say, the consumers or the next 100 million consumers, how are you solving this consumer friction and this untapped audience using digital?
While the consumer profiles of this early adopters, the 100 million, is very different from the next 200 million consumers, I believe the principles how we will get them on board are very similar. And those principles, how I articulate them, is deep consumer intimacy. I think the empathy for what people are going through, the frictions like Nitin mentioned, and unrelenting focus on innovation. Let me give you an example. If you look at the 100 million consumers that we got first, these were largely metro, urban, English educated, even tech savvy individuals, more younger audience as well. And as we now look to the next 200 million consumers, these are skewed towards more tier 2 and beyond towns. These are people who are still getting comfortable with technology. They are not savvy by any means. They are native language speakers. And they have a lot of misgivings about how to transact on online. And this whole native language speaker, I think that is a big friction. These people, while they understand transactional English, but it is very difficult for them to type or search using English.
Okay, so speaking the language of the people, Harish, can you tell us, what is the consumer friction in fashion e-commerce and fashion e-commerce category, and how is Myntra solving it? Because, when Myntra had become big, like everyone would say that how, you can see a person wearing Ritu Kumar at a place where there is not even a Ritu Kumar store, or probably a person wearing Marks and Spencer's where there is no Marks and Spencer store in that particular city. So how are you solving that problem?
Fashion as an experience of buying is a bit different from when you buy other things. So for example, think about when you go and buy clothes, right? All of us would like to try it first and experience the feel of the material. Rest assured that the brands we are buying are the brands that we want to wear. The kind of quality of material and the quality of color is still what we expected. Now, if you add on top the e-commerce complexity, we cannot do a lot of these things. So what Myntra as a leader or a pioneer in fashion does is solve for all of these friction points. So what we do is we give you 30 days, no questions asked returns. So you can buy it, no questions asked, no worries, you can buy it, try it, and if you don't like it, you can return it back. We work with all the big brands in the industry. So any brand you want and you are looking for, you can rest assured that what you get is absolutely trustable. Right? The third thing, which is really important in a fashion buying flow, is that you have enough choice and catalog, and we make sure that we present the catalog in a way that you can experience the material even without touching it. So the way we experience fashion in a store, we get it as close to it as possible in the real world.
Okay.
And that is Myntra's, I would say, strength.
Okay.
And we reduce friction points at each part of this journey, whether it is discovery, whether it is try and buy, whether it is easy returns, or whether it is even recommendations to your friend. If you want to buy something with your friend. At each stage, Myntra, as a pioneer in the world of online fashion, has solved for this.
Okay. So, Vikas in fact touched upon tapping into the smaller towns. Shrivas, from you, I want to understand, okay, you have like the metro city market, but what about the tier 2, tier 3 cities, and how is digital helping you tap into those markets?
I think digital as a medium has a lot of powerful kind of things that one can kind of capitalize on, right? And specifically, one of those key capabilities, I would say, is the ability to target in a very specific way, right? So there are any number of creative formats and different kinds of channels, mediums, engagement opportunities with consumers, and all of those are opportunities from a brand perspective to engage with consumers in a really kind of tailored and targeted way. But on top of that, the ability to target at a geographic level, if necessary at an area level, at a hyperlocal level, so be very specific in the targeting. I think that's one real advantage and benefit that digital gives you. So specifically when we launch in any city, including a tier 2 or tier 3 market, one of the things that we can do is be very targeted in terms of building awareness, consideration for that specific city. And also target at a very segmented level, because we know that different consumer segments have different needs, and therefore the ability to kind of target at a consumer need based level and create awareness for the benefits, I think that's a unique opportunity. And finally, the fact that we can not just target geographically, but target on the basis of demographics, target on the basis of interest. I think there are many kind of advanced targeting opportunities. For example, things like lookalike audiences, etc. I think those are very advanced targeting abilities, which have, which therefore give us immediate kind of growth in those markets.
Okay, so lookalike audience is one way that Facebook is helping Swiggy, let's say, reach out to a tier 2, tier 3 market. Nitin, I would like to know from you, how does Facebook really partner with these digital natives to solve their key problems?
Most of us who follow these digital natives know that they sharply have two big objectives. One is acquiring new users. Acquiring new users is all about getting the next set of online shoppers who are actually new to online shopping or new to a digital category, like large appliances or booking a hotel for the first time or ordering food for the first time. Facebook family of apps basically which includes Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp, is essentially the first use case for anybody who is new to internet in this country. So when they come on internet, the first app they're downloading is either one of these. So for us, it's a unique place for us to drive that objective to acquire new customers. So we help a lot of these digital natives to acquire new customers from that perspective. The second key objective I've heard often from digital natives is how can we drive repeat, loyalty, and profitability. I think these are also becoming key requirements for a lot of these mature digital natives now, who are not just looking at acquisition and burning money on that, but also driving profitability and repeat and loyalty. Even in that area, our Facebook family of apps helps tremendously just on the basis of how we can dynamically serve ads to the right valuable set of users, how can we personalize the communication to drive necessary action. I think all of this comes together in a very, very packed and stitched way where can we prime the full funnel where a customer moves very smoothly across top, middle, and bottom, and we drive consideration, awareness, and transaction.
On this note, it is time for us to take a short break. You don't go anywhere. This conversation will continue on the other side of the break. Welcome back. You're watching Facebook Zero Friction Future, a CXO series in association with Storyboard, and today we are discussing the e-commerce industry. Vikas, from you, I want to understand, so you spoke about acquiring the next 100 million consumers. So currently, if I were to ask you, what are your key marketing problems and how is Facebook helping you solve those issues?
The Facebook family, I mean, not just Facebook alone. It is the first touch point for most people who are coming into the world of internet and online. So it, just to acquire those consumers and bringing them, first from offline to online and then from online into e-commerce, I think Facebook is a great partner from that perspective. The simple reach is unparalleled. The other unique bit about Facebook is the deeply individual nature of connect that people have with their Facebook or Instagram or WhatsApp. So that again provides you a very unique opportunity to really sort of personalize and customize what your message is to them. You don't need to sort of be in that broadcast mode, and you can really, depending on what stage that consumer is or that person is in his or her journey, you can sharply tailor your messages which are more relevant to them, and hence help them sort of move into the various stages of the funnel.
Okay. Harish, congrats on your end of the reason sale. It did pretty well. How did you leverage on digital to reach out to your consumer? Also, when such sales happen, you're either spoiled for choice, or, you go into that mode that too much discount. I don't, really need so much stuff. So how does digital help you navigate through like a sale like this?
Sure. I mean, for me, digital is the starting point, like Vikas said, to talk to my consumer. If you think about how the landscape has changed over the last few years, right, with the 4G explosion in this country, smartphone growth, it's very easy for us to talk to our users, talk to them when they are most receptive, and reach them with the right message at the right time through digital. Unlike traditional means where it has been extremely difficult to customize or target or even speak to them in their language, digital makes it very easy. So if you look at the broad spectrum of the platforms that are available to us, if you look at the traditional challenges that a marketer in India were faced with, one was reach, right? The other was targeting. The third would be measurement. I think we are getting to a point where all these things are getting solved.
What is the biggest difference that you have seen while using, let's say, a Facebook as a platform to reach out to your consumer?
With the end of reason sale that you spoke about, we do partner with print medium, we do partner with other mediums, but we are able to deliver the message to the right user at the right time in a customized way at scale through digital. So for example, with platforms like Facebook, Insta, we could easily reach more than 100 million users for our message.
Okay. Shrivats, Swiggy is expanding at a very rapid pace. How is Facebook helping you guys in this journey?
The brand and business objectives that one wants to accomplish can easily be accomplished through a whole host of innovative media kind of properties as well as innovative creative properties. To give you a couple of examples, for example, when Instagram Stories was kind of launched and became a big thing, right? I think Swiggy was one of the first brands that kind of really recognized the power of that format and used it to create very immersive kind of vertical videos which kind of brought out the food and the brand in all of its glory. And that was something that actually over a period of time we've scaled up because we've seen a lot of incremental user acquisition based on that, right? So much so that it comprises almost 10% of our media mix in the Instagram, Facebook family along with the Facebook audience networks. It's almost 10% of our spends. From a creative perspective, again, kind of it happens to be a Instagram example. Instagram came up with this voice note feature a few months back, right? And what we did was we said, could we use this feature in a really innovative way to engage with consumers? And if you kind of look at the feature, essentially it's a voice message that you can that you can use to communicate with people on Instagram. And how we leveraged it was, if you look at the pictorial depiction of that, it actually created certain waveforms or shapes. So what we did was we encouraged consumers to participate with us in using the voice note feature to create waveforms that looked like certain food types. For example, in the shape of a fish or in the shape of a kebab or whatever, right? So we created a bunch of challenges that consumers could participate in. And I think one of the kind of real powers of digital is the instantaneous feedback and signals that you get, right? So the minute we launched that particular engagement campaign, we just saw an overwhelming response because consumers just loved it. And that's where I think there's a unique coming together of power of platform, power of an idea, and power of the media format.
That's a great example. Vikas, in continuation with my previous question to you on 100 million users, content and vernacular are two big trends, which Flipkart is aggressively pursuing. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
We believe, and with a lot of evidence at our hand, that entertainment and online videos can actually bridge the gap from just being online and being comfortable and experiencing e-commerce. And that is why we are on a mission to democratize content, premium, top quality premium content to a wide base of consumers for free. And we are doing that through ecosystem partnerships with content providers, etc. And really the theory or the principle behind why we are doing it is because we believe as more and more people come to the platform to engage with this content, and there is movies, there is TV shows, there are even games. As people come more often, it can take away some of the anxieties and some of the misgivings they may have, or some of the discomfort they may have with the platform.
On that note, Harish, tell us, how does Myntra measure the success of marketing in terms of the money spent on digital?
It would be the same approach that most of us digitally native marketers would take. You'd want to measure success both at the top end of the funnel and at the bottom end of the funnel. Top end metrics would be things like brand salience metrics, so awareness, Tom Spont. I mean, these are terms which we use quite frequently, but it's about how the consumer remembers you at the moment they think about your category. So that's top funnel metrics. Bottom funnel metrics are installs, acquisitions, traffic, revenue. So these are all the bottom funnel metrics. The good thing about digital is it ties in perfectly with these things that we want to measure, more so than traditional means. Now, reason is because you can attribute the right trigger points to the right responses to the right ROI that you get. It's not perfect yet, but we are actually much better than where we were before because of digital attribution tools and measurement tools getting better and better. So for example, we would run a marketing mix model that would explain to us which of the media spends are giving us what kind of ROIs, and we would compare and then take a call on which ones are performing really well. Digital platforms always tend to be one of the high performers, including Facebook and Instagram.
Okay. Srivats, Swiggy has always come out with these cool creative campaigns. Two of them you just spoke about, using Instagram as a platform. One of the campaigns taught me how to probably order just single scoop of Naturals ice cream, which I binge on these days. But, tell me, how does digital really offer you more options to, probably come up with these cool creative campaigns that you guys do?
Yeah. So I think if we kind of just step back for a second and look at the consumer brand landscape, right? I think earlier on it was a lot of push-based one-way communication between brands and consumers, and that's evolved to a stage where it's very much a two-way conversation now, where consumers are as discerning about the message that they receive from brands, and brands need to navigate this landscape in a very different way. It's a much more dynamic landscape. There's a lot more media fragmentation, a lot more channels, etc. But I think that's also a unique opportunity for brands to engage with consumers in ways that hadn't been done before. I think some of the my fellow panelists have mentioned the measurement frameworks that one can use from a digital perspective. I think the real power of digital is in all of the signals that one can get. And like I mentioned earlier, the various formats, the various creative formats, media formats. And I think the power of an idea can really be amplified on digital, and you don't necessarily need to spend a lot of money to achieve consumer traction.
Okay, so finally, Nitin, my question to you is, what are the top two things that digital natives watching this should take away from this particular show?
I think the common theme here is go after the new consumers. I think if in that endeavor of acquiring the next 100, 200 million, as Vikas said, I think start building frictionless experiences. So while you prime the full funnel, identify areas or identify points in that journey where there's friction. So you spoke about vernacular, you spoke about going to the next 100 or 200 next new cities, what it takes to avoid friction there. So I think build and invest in seamless consumer journeys to acquire the next 100 to 100 million. I think the second key element, which I think Srivat's mentioned a couple of times, was build thumb-stopping creatives to drive impact. Attention is the rarest commodity in the today's digital age. So if your idea can drive attention in the millennial today, I think that's where you've scored the best in the digital era.
Okay, so essentially create thumb-stopping creatives and also reduce that friction or make the entire consumer journey extremely seamless. That's it for now. Keep watching CNBC TV 18.
Focus, ideate, innovate, enable.